Welcome to Believer Podcast, episode 7, I believe. I'm here with Annalise today. So just kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story.
Okay, well, my name's Annalise. I'm an athlete. I run track and cross country. Used to run. I did like Division 1 athletics, Mercer, Go Bears, and then I ran a little bit in occupational therapy school at VCU, and navigating a lot of chronic conditions. So a lot of like mental battles of comparing like before all the neurological stuff happened in 2020 and after. So it's been like a long like process. And now I'm kind of training for hopefully making a Paralympic 2028 team. But I'm like a Paralympic athlete, ho hopefully now, and that's kind of what I train for now. But I'm also just a recent graduate of OT school, so I like to do a little bit of everything, and I love research. So I do chronic migraine mechanistic research, so kind of trying to understand that migraine is like a whole body condition. So yeah, I kind of like to dabble and do a little bit of everything.
Okay. And then, so what has like going to school and learning more about yourself and learning more about the different occupational therapists and things that you're doing now, what has that meant to you? And like, what are the challenges been going through that?
I think going to OT school as like someone who's also often a patient myself has meant a lot because I think there definitely needs to be more diversity in OT. And I think that it means a lot when I work with my patients when I've also walked in their footsteps. And it makes for I think a deeper connection when you've also walked the walk. I think that like navigating on the other side is trying to be a clinician can pose a lot of barriers because there's not a lot of it's kind of a new territory. There's not a lot of diversity in the field of OT in terms of any kind of diversity. So there's a lot of challenges when it comes to navigating like the school system and getting accommodations and things like that because it's not really built for students with disabilities to try to, tread the line and be on both sides, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So what kind of problems have you ran up against, or things that you feel like that could be different?
I've ran up on a lot of problems, but I think that like whether that be with like accommodations or just like a not understanding that disabled people are taking the same courses. Like even some of my classmates would ask me if I was taking an easier version of the exams. Um, I think that just kind of pushes me more to want to pursue this field. Because there's a definite need for it. And it's definitely forced me to be a big advocator for myself, which is a basic foundation in the field of OT because you often have to advocate for your patients and your clients. And then it's also helped me in like my own running, I guess travels as well too. Yeah.
Okay. And before we hopped on this, you said you wanted to potentially go to get your PhD. Is that something that you like? Do you enjoy school? Do you enjoy like the learning process and researching and all of that? Like, why would you tell someone to go and do that?
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of people think I'm kind of crazy for wanting to pursue another doctorate degree, and I am. I think that like I'm just really loving the like journey of knowledge and I love the research process. I love that like OT I can mesh with my background of psychology and I'm able to work with different fields. So I'm using like my very small limited background in biomechanical engineering that I had a little moment at Mercer with, and I'm able to collaborate with engineers and MDs and computer science. Like I'm trying to learn how to code. I don't know what I'm doing in that world, but like just the opportunities that exist when you are open to learning are limitless. So I'm really excited to try to pursue this so that I can hopefully start my own lab and be able to do mechanistic research with chronic migraine. And then I also do like disability studies kind of research. So investigating ableism in the healthcare field, like intersectional ableism and how different identities can be impacted also when they have a disability identity.
That's really cool. No, that's really cool. And then, what would you tell someone that's not hasn't gone through what you've gone through yet, and they're thinking about they kind of have the same situation. They're thinking about going to occupational therapy school and then getting a PhD and all that. What would you tell someone that's scared to do that?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say that I think that connections are really, really helpful. I think that reaching out to someone who's maybe gone through it, reaching out to me is fine, but I think the OT world is really small and the connections can really build and everyone's really open and welcoming to our field. I think to try to grow our field. And especially the research community within that field is even smaller. So I think that if you're passionate about what you do, that's definitely going to shine through. And one of my now friends, but someone I really looked up to and worked was like a mentor through OT school, would always say like remember your why. So there's always like a reason why you want to pursue the field that you're doing or the art or whatever you're really passionate about. And sometimes when you're in the middle of it, things can get really blurry and trying to just go back and remember your why can hopefully clear up some of the clouds that are like blocking your like intent, like thinking about why you want to continue to pursue it. So I really like thinking about that too.
So then, what was your why? That what helped you, keep going through it and finishing and continuing on potentially with everything.
Definitely. So my why is like I want to be the OT that I never had. 'Cause when everything started happening with my condition, I was training at Mercer and just like, well, training at home for my next season. And I got super dizzy and then it never went away. And it was like 6 months. And I felt like, I felt like a subject rather than a patient. And my first hospitalization, I had like 30 like doctors and little medical students like circling around my bed and asking me all these questions because they were interested in me, but not as like a patient, more as like a case study. And I was really isolated because they had no idea what was going on. When I did OT, it was just a simple HEP, which is like an exercise program or a list of things to do, and it was very like lonely and it was really hard because I felt like no one else had experienced what I did and I was never working one-on-one with somebody. And so that really solidified my intentions of wanting to be an OT because I wanted to be like a better person that I never really had the opportunity to have and treat clients as people. So, yeah.
No, that's good. I definitely understand that in some standpoints with injuries and things like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't be a doctor just with the
No.
surgeries and things like that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't
No.
see blood and all that.
No,
But
but even with your injuries, it's important to like take pain seriously. Like even just something
facts.
as simple as that. And OT like is really important to advocate for your patients. So you have to believe your patients. And that's something that like that's definitely very like happens a lot in the healthcare system where they don't believe their patients.
Facts. So I know you were an athlete at Mercer also. So what
Yeah.
would you tell athletes that kind of are going through that? They have an injury or something, and coaches are like, "No, you're fine," things like that. What would you tell athletes in that scenario who know they're hurting and know they're in pain, but are getting talked into like feeling like they're not in pain or not hurt?
Yeah, I actually had that happen before any of my like health craziness like occurred. I had like a little stress fracture in my shin and like one of the trainers came in to the office and he was like, "Can I have my student observe?" And I was like, "Oh, sure." And then it was this video about how like people make up pain.
Hmm.
And I was like, I started to cry because I was like, "What are you talking about?" For people who are going through that, you're not alone in that. I think sometimes the system is like a business and they're like pushing their athletes to just show up on the court, on the field, and not really viewing you and taking your pain seriously. Um, I always say be a Karen and like advocate for yourself even if it's annoying because at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your health system and like if they don't see it, if they're seeing it as like a commodity and like a part of this business, like they're not treating you as a human being, like you need to be the one that sticks up for yourself. Even if it's you being annoying and like that annoyingness is what's going to protect you from maybe like a lifelong injury or chronic injury. Unfortunately, like that is a very common occurrence in the NCAA, and I'm sure like other systems as well.
Facts, facts. And then what was your experience like at Mercer?
In terms of like
I would say in terms of, I guess we'll go with overall, like in terms of like the overall experience you had at Mercer as a school and as an athlete.
I would say as a school, I and like with the people, I would not trade that experience at all. I think the Spanish department, the psychology department, everything was amazing. I was able to start my own minor there as like a disability studies minor. I think the people, I met so many different people from different corners of the earth, and I think everyone there was very open and welcoming. Um, I think as like an athletic system, I loved my teammates. I loved I think there was like definitely a challenging divide between track and cross country and I think like we had some coaching issues which luckily he's not there anymore. But I think it's like again that's unfortunately an occurrence that happens a lot in the NCAA. But I think it's also important to say like don't let whatever coaching system or whatever thing you have going on, take out the love for the sport that you have, because that's the system is only temporary and your love and passion for the sport should sustain longer than whatever damaging situation is there. Yeah.
Facts, facts. And then from what is like what does cross country mean to you? What does being an athlete mean to you?
That's a good question too. I think it was really hard too and complicated because most of my college career was like me after all this neurological stuff. So I think it was really hard for me to see my times get slower and slower and me work harder and harder and feel further and further away from my goalpost. Um, but I think that cross country means perseverance and like tenacity. Like I think the times aren't reflective as the hard work and the community, and I wouldn't replace all those training hours for anything really because I know that I worked really hard to get to that spot because um like you don't know like what battle your opponents are even going through before they even get to the line.
Facts.
But yeah, I would say cross country is a lot of tenacity, a lot of hard work and yeah, teamwork. It's definitely teamwork. Unfortunately, I wasn't at the capacity where I think I was really benefiting any of the teams scoring at that point, but what can you do to still help the team even if you're not necessarily impacting the team in a scoring capacity? I think that was really mentally challenging for me. But I tried to do the best that I can to take my life experience and my positivity to try to improve team morale and try to talk different student athletes through experiences that I have had. So yeah,
But and then so I know you said you're planning on going to the Paralympics in 2028 is what you said? I believe.
hopefully, yeah.
So what would that experience be mean to you?
Okay, so this is a I competed as like a T36 athlete. I got classified last year. And this has been like just so life-changing for me, because I felt like I didn't belong a lot of the time in collegiate athletics. And I really struggled with my identity because I feel like it's so heavily intertwined with my sport and my love for running. And the existence of para sport and the para community has really opened so many doors for me. I competed at like USATF outdoor track and field championships last year, and I actually like won the 100 and 200 meters. And I don't know, I'm not a sprinter. I was actually like warming up with blocks, and it was the first year that the Olympians and the Paralympic athletes were like together at the same meet. So I was warming up doing blocks terribly, and Noah Lyles was in the lane next to me, who's like the gold medal, like the fastest man alive. And it was like a really weird moment because I have so much imposter syndrome, and also like I'm like eating track when I try to do the blocks. But like it's something that kind of forces you to be like, okay, like I actually belong here. Like this is so weird. I think the like making Team USA and competing at the Paralympics would be like life-changing for me in the sense that like it would just solidify that I do have a place here and I do belong. And I think it's like I think also like being able to apply it in my own clinical lens, like and as an OT is has been really cool too. Um, I have it like as my goal. I'm like I'm thinking about it nearly every day, and I'm really hoping that it works out, but I'm just doing the best that I can to hopefully get there.
No, that's big time. That's big time. I'll definitely be supporting you if you when you get to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. And then what would the like what do you have to do to get to that? Like what is like the steps to being in the Paralympics and just being there and competing and doing all that?
Yeah, so the rules are really interesting in para athletics. So like I was national champion like last year, but there's like a mathematic algorithm that decides if you make the team or not. So I like just missed making the world's team last year, and there's no world's team this year. So hopefully making worlds next year, which is I think in Uzbekistan. And then hopefully then I have like my name on the map, and then they'll pick me for the Paralympic games. I have to like hit a certain time that year to like make the trial times, and hopefully within then I can compete for Team USA. Hopefully. There's a small chance I can in September. I'm crossing all my fingers, my toes and eyes. Like I don't really know what's gonna happen, but yeah, it's just been a really cool experience.
Yeah, no. If you believe it, it can happen.
Yeah,
And then,
definitely.
so from the last podcast I had, they left a question for whoever was next, and this
Ooh.
kind of is a perfect time to transition into that question based off of what you're trying to do. So, who in your life who has been an inspiration in your life, and then also who has been an inspiration professionally, like a professional athlete or anything like
Oh
that
my
in your
God.
life.
That's such a good question. Um, oh my God. Okay. I would say in my life, definitely, um, my mom is definitely a big inspiration of mine. I think she's navigated, a lot of things. When my health was declining in 2020, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. And so, like, we were kind of, she was actually going through it, but like we were together, like kind of caregiving for each other. And the way that she's able to manage so much and also like continue to parent me even though I'm like 24. I feel like I still need my mother. She is always there and always shows up for me and shows up for herself too. And it's different because I don't come from like athletes, not to say my parents aren't athletic, but I like to brag that my parents went D1 in marching band. So they met at like Temple marching band, and so they try their best to apply like the music world and like their love and their why in terms of music for sports. So it's been cool to see that they're still able to continue their passions and how it's like different from mine, but like still find like some sort of connection to it. My favorite athlete. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say an athlete and then I'm gonna think about it later, like, oh my God, I should have said this person also. But I would say classic Allison Felix. I love her so much. Um, she's so iconic. Such a decorated athlete. A really great advocator for women. And now she's like trying to make it back to run in LA 2028. And so that's been really cool to watch too. And the only other thing we share in common is before a race, she will listen to Beyonce and I will listen to Beyonce. And maybe in that way I'm trying to channel some Allison Felix speed, even if it's just for like zero point 0.1 seconds. I need as much speed as I can get, as I am not a speed runner. I have the distance background. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What is your favorite Beyonce song?
Partition, Partition was like my race song since I was in the seventh grade, and I don't even know what to say to that. But I would say, I like Grown Woman. It's like so like she had it on only on title for like 10 years, but I love that song. It's like it reminds me of like 2016 era. Yeah, I don't know. And then for my like Sweet 16, I got to go see her in concert at the Link, so it was really cool. Um yeah, I try to channel Allison Felix when I'm running in any possible way that I can at all. Yeah, a girl can dream. A girl can dream. Yeah.
And then I know earlier you said you got to line up next to Noah Lyles. So I'm gonna ask, who you said he was the fastest man on earth right now?
I think
Who
so.
who do you think would win the race, him or Usain Bolt?
Probably Usain Bolt, honestly, and I hate to say that, but like, yeah, probably.
Okay.
I feel like he could run even faster than his time show. He's like jogging, and honestly, he could probably run like maybe a 300 in the time I'm getting a 100. Probably four. I don't know. He's just so fast. It's
He
crazy.
was fast. He was fast. And then, okay, so switch it up a little bit. What would you go back and tell your younger self? Like, what is something you'd go back and tell your younger self from everything you've learned to now?
I would definitely say like you belong and you have a place. I think that sometimes we're like I said earlier, sometimes we're so intertwined with like our sport and our identity that like sometimes like we get really mixed up with it and then we feel really lost, and just reminding yourself that you do have a place, and just reaching out, whether that be like professionally or like with the people that you trust in your circle, just to remind yourself that you do have a place and you belong. I think is really important.
Facts. And then, what is a moment that you're most proud of in your life?
Ooh, okay. I would say um I want to say two, honestly. My first one is um Go Bears. It's my first race back ever, and it was at Georgia Southern. I think it was an 800 meter, and just having all the girls there to cheer me on. I know, like, I can't tell you how amazing it was to not feel like I was like the pity clap at the end, but I think it was a culmination of like a full year of being at home and like doing online class and going in and out of the hospital, and my neurologist didn't think I was going to be able to run anymore, so I like went from walking to try to coach myself back into running. So I think that was really something I'm really proud of. And my dad drove all the way down from outside of Philly to watch it. So it was really a special moment. And then last year at the outdoors was actually insane. I was not expecting to make it and I was not expecting to win either event. So I was really proud of myself for um I guess I don't know. I putting myself out there and like yeah, I don't know.
No, you put yourself out there and won. That's
Yeah,
that's
I
great.
don't know. Yeah, thank you.
Of course. And then, what does the word believer mean to you?
I think it means believing in yourself, believing in your purpose, believing in your why, um and then using those resources that you do have to support that mentality, because sometimes you don't always actually you're not actually always believing in yourself. And that's just the reality of it. So using those resources, at VCU, they had a sports psychology program with the athletics, and I definitely use that. I use university counseling services. I also used like my community, my circle, and I think a combination can be really helpful to continue to support um, you in those times when you're not actually believing. So I would say that.
And then what was VCU like? Like what did you gain from VCU? What was that experience like for you?
I feel like it was like night and day. I feel like I mean my teammates were also amazing.
Hmm.
Um I think that I really appreciated my coaches as well, and like um feeling like just trying to do what I could do as I was, knowing the reality that like at the moment I was just not helping with scoring or anything. So I think that it really challenged me in a lot of ways, and I really was so grateful for the opportunity that I could compete and and get better. So I really yeah, it was an invaluable experience. It gave me a lot of perspective on like my Mercer experience as well. And yeah, it was amazing, I would say. It was really cool.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad that it was good and it was good for you and everything. And then you also got your doctorate degree, which is big time.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course, of course. And then so that's kind of really all the questions that I necessarily had, and I wanted to open up for, conversation. If you had any question or anything you would like to say, anything you like to say to anybody.
I know like I was one of your podcasts I heard kind of like your long-term plan and everything, but I kind of wanted to hear about what inspired you to start Believer, maybe. That was maybe one of my questions.
Okay, what kind of inspired me to start Believer is, I've dealt with, mental struggles with trying to get through injuries and things like that, and just have not necessarily having a lot of people to talk to that I felt comfortable with going through that back in college. So I felt like there was a need for positivity in the world, and there was a need for a safe space for people to be able to tell their stories, share their stories, be able to talk to someone, because you never know what people are going through. Like people can look so strong and feel like they have everything and nothing's going wrong when realistically something is going wrong. They're just really good at faking it, and I just felt like there wasn't necessarily a real space for that, and I feel like this could be the real space for that. And also, I just feel like everyone needs a place to say whatever they're going through, because not everyone's gonna want to talk to their family or talk to their friends about it. So I feel like if one person sees one story from someone who has shared their stories and feels like they've gotten better, I feel like that's a win in my book. Whether or not I make money off of this, don't make money off of this, if one person feels like their life has changed or they're a better person off of this brand, I feel like I won.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was really cool to hear about kind of your plans, and now it's also really cool to hear like it's very evident how passionate you are about it. And I think there's definitely a need for this space, especially like with student athletes, but also like it seems like it's very open to all different kinds of people. And
Yeah.
so it's been really cool, and I'm very grateful to hopefully be some little part of the process. So
No, I appreciate it. Hey, I appreciate it. And hopefully one day when there's a physical space, I could, have you kind of help other people and open
yeah,
up a
I would
space
love
to where
that.
that could somehow work.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, so I know last time someone asked a question, what is the question you would have for the next person that is on the podcast?
Okay, let's see. Okay. My brain is like not working. Okay. What's one thing? Um, okay, the last person asked me what's one thing I would tell to my younger self, right?
No, I asked that. They asked
Oh.
who has been an inspiration in your life.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh, what's one mantra that like maybe that you use, or like a pre-game or pre um if it's not a game, maybe it's a concert, maybe they're also band kids. Pre like race thing that you do to help you like mentally kind of lock in or feel more confident in your abilities, I guess.
I like that. I like
Good
that.
luck consolidating that. I feel like there was a lot of words there.
No,
So
I'm gonna say it just like that.
okay.
I feel like they'll understand. I actually also do have another question. What is like distance running? What is that like mentally? Because
Oh my
I
God.
cannot stand. I had to run, my freshman year. We had to run a mile in 5:30, and that's probably one of the worst things I've ever had to do in my
That's kind
life.
of crazy for you guys. I feel like I love distance running because it's like your brain is like kind of turned off because all you're thinking about is like maybe you're thinking about how much pain you're in, but it's honestly it's great mental training. Um and it's like it's great to build your mental strength, your mental toughness. The first few weeks when you're training, it's terrible because you have no base of like running at all, but like that's where you're building like the mental toughness to not stop.
Hmm.
Um but then once you like get out and you have like a long run, you break through, it's like it's really freeing. And maybe some of that is the running endorphins, but like a lot of it is because you've built so much mental toughness and you know you have like all this training built up and like you have a lot of confidence in your abilities because you've worked that hard. That's something that like I grew up playing basketball actually. So I started running to stay in shape for basketball. And then I was like, wait, this is actually kind of fun. What is this? So that's something that like there's obviously talent involved, but like you need to be working harder to like have the success for long distance. Like you need to have the background and mileage. So it's pretty cool in that way. Can I run a mile right now? Probably not. It would be terrible. But yeah, it's really cool.
Okay, no, I've always wondered because I was like I hate long distance running, and
Well,
I
now it's like I feel like when I open Instagram, all the people from my high school are either running a half or they're running a marathon or some of them are running ultras. I'm trying to convince Whitney Johnson, I'm trying to
Mhm.
convince her to run ultras with me when we're like 50. Because it's like 100 miles and for some reason that feels more attainable to me than a marathon. And it's like if we run 100 miles and it's like 11-minute pace, we would just ch chat. We'd just be yapping for like 3 days. And I'm like, we could do that. Like, I don't stop talking. So we may as well get into a little ultra medal while we're doing it. But she's really not convinced and she doesn't want to do it. But she's got like, we have like 30 years to figure that out. So
that's true.
yeah.
100 miles is crazy.
Yeah, they're crazy. I think you have to be a little crazy to run though. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because I could do it. I
Yeah.
could do it. People have asked me to run like 5Ks, and I don't want to do that.
That's a special kind of pain as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but no, that's I appreciate you for letting me know that because I've always wondered like what's running long distance is like on like mentally because I know basketball every sport has a different mental battle that you have to go through to
Yeah.
continue. Like basketball is more quick pace, you're just running for a long time. Running, you tell me I have to line up on a line and have to run 10, 15 miles. Mentally, my head's not going to let me do that.
There's different strategies like breaking it down in small like little bits and there's things you learn and pick up along the way. And it's also you're yapping with your friends. It's now I'm training alone and I'm not long distance running, so I'm doing shorter sprints, but it's definitely a big difference when you go from college athletics or even just running on a team to running alone. It's not as fun. It's not a good time. Yeah.
No, I can imagine. But I appreciate you for joining. I appreciate you for being open and answering questions and talking about your story. That's all I have. If you had any more questions or anything, I would open book.
No, I'm good. I really appreciate being a part of it, so thank you.
Of course, I appreciate you. Bet.